I reckon I listened to Tim Dillon's podcast when he was down in Australia, and I think I remember him talking about the trip up in Queensland. Like, were you there? You had a really interesting, I don't know how much sugar he had poured on the story, but you had a real interesting lady looking over your guys' welfare during your stay up in Queensland. Is that right? Like, I remember him just ranting about some Australian chick, how she's supposed to be more relaxed, but she was just an uptight bitch that reminded him of his mother, I'm pretty sure he said.
Yeah. I mean, we were at like a. Well, here's what happened. I hope I'm not telling any stories out of school here with my beautiful friend Tim Dillon. But Tim is, he's he's a very wealthy homosexual from New York, which means he does what he wants and he says what he wants, and it's very fun to be close to someone who is that okay with being themselves. So we did. I did. What was it? I flew to Adelaide, did that show. Adelaide was fucking cool. Really charmed by Adelaide. Went to Perth, which was just a fucking mutant factory. That was like the worst show. I think we did the entire time. We did, every English-speaking country in the world besides New Zealand, and fucking Perth, man. Those people. I think they were like there for a meat raffle. I don't think they knew that it was a fucking comedy show. It was really funny to like do like the coolest thing ever, and then Dublin, London, and then wind up in Perth and just eat our dicks, both of us.
Yeah.
Tim did like 40 minutes in Perth. It sucked so bad. Then we flew from Perth to the fucking Daintree, dude, which I didn't know that you guys have the oldest rainforest in the world there. So yeah, like we were there and we were on this like very, very just opulent resort. Like the rooms were like half indoor, half outdoor, like all glass, like literally in the rainforest, like a budding, ancient trees and foliage. And Tim, he booked a tour, like a charter tour of the Great Barrier Reef. And so he books that. It's like $5,000. They're gonna, they're bedecking the entire boat with like lobster and everything we want, just everything that a wealthy man with taste would like. And then that night, this is like our first or second night, Tim starts Googling like, I think it's called the anaconji. It's like the nightmare jellyfish. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't, but it sounds bloody dangerous.
Yeah, there's a jellyfish down there that's like as big as your thumb, man. And apparently it stings if they don't kill you. They cause like nightmarish hallucinations for 2 weeks. Like you just have this like, it's an impending sense of dread. So you're just like waiting, for death to claim you the whole time. So after he Googles that, he wakes up in the morning and the charter people are there to pick us up. They're going to drive us up to the reef. And Tim's like, I'm sorry, I have COVID. And they're like, excuse me? And he's like, yeah, I have COVID. I can't go. And they were like, well, what are we supposed to do with all this lobster and crab? And he's like, you got the money. Throw yourselves a party. I don't care. You got to keep the money. A deal's a deal. I'm just not going. I'm sick. So he says that. And he says it loud enough. And also, I don't know, dude. Like, that's what's weird about Australia is, like, it seems like a bit of a nanny state. Like, people are like, people have their eyes on you. And you have your eyes on each other down there. So, like, right away, we get a phone call from the front desk because the people who had the boat tattled on Tim. They called the hotel and they were like, hi, we're here to pick up one of your guests. And they just told us we have COVID, or he has COVID. So me and Ben, Avery, his former producer, we went to go grab coffee. And we're, like, stopped on this bridge. And they're like, hey, and like we're still walking, and they're like backpedaling, It's like they have like a nuclear device on it. And they're like, we were just told that you guys have COVID. And me and Ben were like, no. And they're like, well, someone in your cabin has COVID. We were just told that. And we were like, no. And we just start walking. And the staff is backing up again, like they're at gunpoint.
Mm.
So after that happened, Tim tried to explain to them, like, I lied. I didn't want to do it. So I lied. And they were like, so after that, dude, their eyes were on us, like, all the time. Like, I've never seen so many towels get dropped off at a hotel room as I have. Like, they were there, like, every hour, just dropping off towels. You need more candles. You need another toothbrush. And, of course, Tim was infuriated by this. And also, he was kind of pissed that he couldn't get, like, a club sandwich at 1 a.m. in the rain.
Well, that's unfortunate. Yeah, you should be able to get that.
He expects a little more, bang for his buck, as I understand that, we spent a lot of money to give us this really cool experience. So, Yeah, so we do that, and then the next day we sign up for like a tour, like a tour of like the indigenous sites of the Daintree area. Which state is that, or province?
The Daintree area. It's you're up in Queensland, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's by like Cairns or whatever.
Yeah, Cairns is
Um,
their city. Yeah, real north, getting real
yeah,
tropical up there.
right. Yeah, so like we get in this, we go, and we're late, like a half hour late to this fucking bus because Tim keeps his own time, God bless him. And as soon as we get there and we see there's other people on the bus, Tim's like, "No, this would be bad. How could it be good? We can't do this." So we get on there, and the first stop is like an indigenous, like what do you call them? First Nations? What's the correct
Yeah,
terminology?
oh, dude, it's impossible to say the right word these days. I'm too scared to say anything because I'll be cancelled. But yeah, First Nations people is the current in trend word to describe like an Indigenous person. That's what we used to call them
Yeah,
in 2019, but I think that's not allowed anymore.
yeah, dude. Well, I mean, we were using antiquated terms we didn't know were bad. So,
Yeah,
yeah, like indigenous was a big
you're going
step
back to
forward.
2012. You're going back to 2012 there, brother. That was respectful back then. Can't be saying
Oh
that
yeah, dude.
anymore.
We were doing our best. So yeah, we get on this bus, and Tim just right away. I sit down, and I feel my pocket start to buzz, and it's just text messages from Tim like, "We got to get off. All these people are mutants. These are all freaks. I can't spend 8 hours with these freaks." The first stop was like a cultural heritage center, and Tim gets off the bus and just fires up a cigarette on like sacred land, and the bus driver's like, "Oh, you can't be doing that. You can't be doing that." And Tim's like, "I'll do what I want." And then he calls a car, and we can't get a taxi anywhere because it's the middle of nowhere. I mean, like, dude, that was like we were deep in the fucking bush up there. So Tim just starts walking like down the side of the road, like down the side of like a dirt road. And I'm like, I look at Ben, I'm like, what the hell's going on? And Ben's just like laughing and nodding. And eventually we finally get a cab like sent from the resort. And Tim is able to he like talks some lady who owns like a charter bus company up there into giving us a private tour all the way up to Great Barrier Reef. And she's like, I don't know. And he's like, I'm gonna give you $2,000. And she's like, that's too much money. I can't do it. And he's like, what are you talking about? Too much money, lady. Shut up. And she's like, excuse me. And he's like, you need to shut up and take my money. I will pay you cash. Be here at 8 a.m. tomorrow. So she showed up. She took us on an insane tour. We put our feet in the reef. We didn't like getting too deep because we were afraid of the terror fish. And yeah, dude. I mean, it was otherworldly. It was so beautiful. It was like Avatar. I didn't know that that kind of beauty existed. Because you drive through the rainforest and then you just kind of like pull off to the side, and all of a sudden you're just in this like lucid blue water. Yeah, dude. Man, I'm really impressed by what you guys got going on down there.